Matt, we good? All right. Appreciate everyone for joining us for Coach Franklin's weekly press conference. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach, and then we'll open up for questions.
I guess a lot of people are out of town for Thanksgiving, I guess. It's kind of light in here today. Always appreciate you guys coming out and covering Penn State football. Just a couple things to kind of close up the last game. Positives, obviously we overcame a lot of adversity on the road and found a way to get a big-time Big Ten win, which is tough to do. You look across college football, that's hard to do. I thought our guys did a really good job of maximizing. We talk about like kind of one moment opportunities. You prepare all year long for certain opportunities to come up. I thought the fake punt was a perfect example. We've been repping that all the way back since training camp. And Dom Ruley, did a phenomenal job of being the quarterback of that. And getting us into the right call at the right time, or checking out of it. He's done that all year long, and that was great in that situation. But there's also things in that, like if you had a chance to go back and watch the play, Dakari Nelson's block is like a clinic block, like he pancakes the guy on it. Tyler Elsdon on the front side, gets his hands inside. He's got a beautiful block, and guy comes over or he may have a pancake as well. So just really cool that you work all year for something, and then when the time presents itself, the guys are able to, take advantage of it and maximize. So really cool and really proud of the guys for that. 2 for 2 on field goals. There's not a whole lot of people talking about Barker right now and that unit. That's been big for us. I think he's 10 of 11 since he got started for us, and is doing a nice job. I think the situational football stuff that we talk about all the time has really showed up this year. If you look on 2-minute drives, this season, whether it's before the half or at the end of the game, we've scored points in West Virginia, Bowling Green, Kent State, UCLA, Washington, and Minnesota. So take a lot of pride in that. That has showed up. And then 4-minute drives at the end of the game, West Virginia, Washington, Minnesota. So all of those things were really positive. And then maybe my favorite play of the game, was what we call surrender, which we call a play on offense. Now we're able to call surrender, or we signal surrender, and it means once you get the first down, you go down, or once you're about to score, you go down before scoring. It's kind of a perfect example of who we are, but I also think it's a perfect example of Tyler Warren. With that catch, he has a chance to score and be the all-time leading scorer in Penn State history at the tight end position. And he falls down at the 1-yard line. Easily could have scored, goes down. It's the best thing to do in terms of managing that situation and winning the game and not having to kick off again, ending on our terms. So, just really, really cool play, and not surprising that Tyler Warren is going to put the team first. I'm a big believer in this. The more you give to others and pour into others, it comes back to you 10 times. And I think Tyler Warren's a perfect example of that. Opportunities for growth, obviously, the block punt, that wasn't a scheme issue. We had 3 guys rushing. We had 3 guys to block. The guy got a little bit on the edge, and the punt was kicked a little bit wider than normally, and he got his hand on the ball. That was a huge play in the game. The field goal was a fluke deal. We haven't done that for, 11 years. And for whatever reason, we block out when we've always blocked down. But we obviously got to get those things cleaned up. And then the start of the game was disappointing. 3 and out on offense, and then a 70-yard drive resulting in a touchdown. So not the way you want to start the game. So we'll get those things cleaned up. And then, the 2 last points is we got to be better creating yak yards. So that is after the catch yak yards. That is after the carry. yak yards. That's after first contact. To me, the scheme and the other 10 players are responsible to get the ball carrier in position to be in a one-on-one situation. Then you got to win that one-on-one situation. So we got to be a little bit better there. And then, the what we call the quick kick with Tyler Warren. Obviously we don't want to shank the punt, and we've been working that all year long, but the bigger picture thing that I talked about with the team is whenever you're in a sky punt situation, so typically where we were on the field, whether it's a quick kick situation or whether it's a sky kick situation, we would never call timeout there. So it was a good opportunity to talk up. We've talked about it as a team. Sometimes the quarterbacks are not in that discussion because it's a special teams conversation, but we'd never call timeout there. You're already in a plus territory punt situation. If you get a 5-yard penalty for delay a game, no big deal, back up 5 yards and you're still in a really good situation. So that was a good opportunity to kind of talk through that. So most importantly, we found a way to get a win on the road against a good opponent. When you get into Maryland, obviously got a lot of familiarity with these people. I was there for 8 years, 5 years, and then 3 years as the offensive coordinator, head coach in waiting there. So got a lot of history there. Me and Locks coached together for a number of years there as well. Know the area, got a ton of respect for the university, got a ton of respect for the area, the DMV, the high school coaches in the area, the high school programs. You look at their roster, they've done a good job of building their roster between high school and transfer portal. They got 14 players from the transfer portal on their roster. Now, obviously, Locks has got a background as an offensive coordinator, and from what I understand, Locks is calling the offense right now. Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator, was on our staff here at Penn State. I know Josh very well, got a ton of respect for him too. They're an 11 personnel team primarily. They'll go into some other things like 12 and 20 personnel, but they are predominantly 11 personnel team. Passing offense, they're first in the Big Ten. Total offense, they're sixth in the Big Ten. The quarterback, Billy Edwards, has done a nice job there for a number of years as a backup quarterback. And then this year, obviously, he's doing a really good job when you talk about throwing the ball for yards and touchdowns. Roman Hemby's been playing there for a while. Very, very productive back that we got a lot of respect for. And then Ty Helton, I think, is leading the Big Ten in receiving catches and yards. He's got 92 catches for over 1,000 yards. And a guy that we got a lot of respect for on film, and we're going to need to be aware of. He'll be a big part of our defensive game plan. The defense coordinator, Brian Williams, I've also known for a very long time, all the way back to his time as a high school coach in Florida. Brian does a really good job. Multiple scheme from both 3 down front and 4 down front. Guys that we're impressed with, their linebacker, Ruben Hippolyte, who we also recruited. Their safety, Dante Trader, number 12. The defensive lineman, number 7, Tommy Aking Basote. I hope I said that right, please. D lineman, number 8, Jordan Phillips, who's a Tennessee transfer. And then linebacker, number 44, Caleb Wheatland, guys that we have respect for. And then on special teams, James Thomas, and their punter, number 34, Brian McPherson, is a Notre Dame transfer, but is punting very well right now. So excited about the opportunity. It's also senior day for our guys, so there's a lot that comes with that. That's been a little bit challenging, I think, for everybody in college football right now with the COVID years and things like that. It's made it a little bit wacky over the last couple of years. You got 6-year guys, you got 5th-year guys, you got 4th-year guys. Some programs have 7th and 8-year guys, so that's been different. But we look forward to have the opportunity to celebrate these seniors and what they've done for our program. And obviously we need to play well and be 1-0 to put us in the best position to be able to continue playing as a family as long as possible. So open up the questions. I know that was a little bit longer than normal. I apologize. I opened up the questions.
Let's go to Rich Garcello, followed by Mark Wogenrich.
Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon, James. How are you?
Hey, Rich. Cold in the house?
It is. I'm in the basement. It's really cold.
Gotcha.
You look like you're cold too.
Yeah, the vest had to come over here from Lash, but you haven't left your house.
No, I was out walking earlier.
Gotcha.
Cold. It's cold. Anyway,
Rich,
in the last 2 days,
Rich.
Yes.
Thanksgiving press conference. We got a tradition around here.
Okay, white meat.
No. I got all my questions written down here. Yeah, and actually, I think you missed that one. White meat or dark meat?
I did miss that.
Yeah, add it to the list. All right, turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Turkey. Is there a reason why you justify your decision?
It's called Turkey Day for a reason, isn't it?
Okay. And what type of what part of the turkey do you eat?
White meat.
And do you use gravy?
Yes.
And do you eat the turkey and the gravy alone, or do you take a little bit of mashed potatoes, a little bit of stuffing, a little bit of corn, a little bit? How do you do it?
I take a little bit of everything.
On one bite?
Sometimes. I don't really think about it.
What I'm saying is, when you eat the turkey, do you eat it on its own with gravy, or do you include other things in that bite?
It varies. I don't really,
You're a madman, Rich. All right, what we got?
In the last 2 days, have you learned anything more about Anthony Donkoh? Is it a long-term injury? And secondly, how did Nolan play in his place?
Yeah, Anthony is a long-term injury. And we felt like, Rucci played well. I think our offensive line as well as Rucci. I think you could watch 20 plays and be very impressed. And then you could watch a couple plays and be frustrated. And I think that's not just coming from me. That's coming from the line coaches. That's coming from the players themselves. And like always, right, that we got to take responsibility for that. And you also got to give Minnesota some credit for that. Minnesota had an extra week in preparation, and I thought they had a really good plan. It showed up. But yeah, I think we were pleased with Rucci. And we sure are glad he's on our team. We felt like that all year long. And we're gonna need him to have a really good week this week in preparation as well as on Saturday, and have a lot of confidence that he will.
Let's go to Mark Wogenrich, followed by Mike Gross.
Hey, James, happy Thanksgiving in advance.
You too, Mark. How you doing, man?
Good. What do you got for me?
All right, here we go. Pumpkin or sweet potato pie? I know the answer.
I'm going to go sweet potato. Pumpkin's overrated. So,
Mark,
absolutely. Yeah.
my guy. And will you have that at Thanksgiving this year?
No, I will not. It will not come up.
But
I should make one, actually.
But are you saying then you go with sweet potato pie because you're just not a fan of pumpkin? Is that the reason?
Right. No, I prefer sweet potato. It's better. But that's not a thing we do. So maybe you inspired me. I might have to make one.
You can make sweet potato pie.
No.
I'm confused by all
But
of this.
I could try. I absolutely would try.
Okay, so what are you basing your sweet potato pie? That's what I was trying to get to earlier. Is it because you just don't like pumpkin, or?
Yeah. No, I like sweet potato.
When was the last time you had a sweet potato pie? And where did you get it?
I'm going to say, because one of the guys that's going to follow me is a sweet potato pie connoisseur, and he's ordered it, and it's pretty darn good.
And who's that?
Frank.
Oh, I should have probably saved this for Frank.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. What we got, Mark?
Okay. You mentioned earlier about being able to play well Saturday in order to keep playing together this season. One of those options is the Big Ten title game if you beat Maryland and other things happen. What would be the pros and cons of playing in that game?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I haven't spent a whole lot of time kind of thinking about that. I'm literally completely focused on the Terps and the University of Maryland. And after that game, there's a lot of other things I think that have to happen. But that is a possibility. For us, we want an opportunity to compete as many times as we possibly can this year. And if that includes a conference championship game, we would be very, very excited about that opportunity. But again, all we have to do is focus on playing Maryland this week. And if we're not focused on that, then a lot of these other things that everybody else wants to talk about, then those things become, questionable. Those things become challenging. Those things become different. So, Mark, I honestly, we have not talked about it in the last building once. We are focused totally on the University of Maryland and sending our seniors out the right way. I got a ton of respect for the University of Maryland and the talent that they have on their team every year. So totally focused on that, Mark. But anything that happens after Saturday, we'll be excited about those opportunities that we've earned.
Let's go to Mike Gross, followed by Frank Bodani.
Good afternoon, James.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm good.
All right, I got one for you.
Yep.
Fried turkey or roasted turkey?
I've never had the fried turkey, so I got to go roasted. Maybe that's a lame answer, but
It's not a lame answer. You can't answer because you haven't had.
Yeah, that's true. It's reality.
Would you be open to it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I like turkey. I like turkey generally, but it's always been the roasting thing in the oven that I've for every Thanksgiving.
And what part of the turkey?
I'm a white meat guy, generally speaking. Yeah. Beyond that, what do you mean beyond that?
Yeah,
what part of
like breast meat, white, dark meat, legs,
breast meat,
thighs.
Yeah, I'm more white meat. Although I understand the argument for dark meat, which is that it's
more moist,
fattier, and yeah, I understand that. I like turkey generally. Yeah.
It's 2024. Can I challenge you to look into deep fried turkey?
Yes.
You're open to it.
Yeah, I accept that challenge. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mike, I love it. All right, let's go. What you got?
All right. This is when you were deciding to pull the trigger on that fake punt on Saturday. I know that what the outside world thinks can't factor into your decision, of course, doesn't enter into the process. But was there any – I guess I'm asking you this more as a human being than as a coach. Was there any instant where you were thinking, man, if I do this and it doesn't work, the critics' heads are going to explode? I mean, do you ever think of that? I'm not saying you acted on it, but does that ever cross your mind?
At the moment, no. After the case, when everybody is sending messages and saying, wow, great decision. That was awesome. I love it. Why? Because it worked. If it didn't work, Mike, you wouldn't be having fun with me talking about the fried turkey or the roasted turkey. You would be roasting James Franklin. And I totally get that. But again, when you got Dom Ruley as your quarterback and you have Luke Reynolds carrying the ball and you have Dakari Nelson and Elsdon and Cooper Cousins, and we've repped it 1,000 times, and I've called it probably 6 times this year, and we've checked out of it because it wasn't the right look. We've checked out of it because it wasn't the right look, and we checked out of it and it wasn't the right look, and we've had a ton of reps at it. It gives you a ton of confidence because of the young men on that unit and how they've executed it every single day at practice and the trust that they've built with me in terms of we're not going to run it into a bad look. And Dom Ruley's done a great job of that all year long. So at the time, I did not think like that because, number one, we were trying to win the game, and I felt like it gave us the best chance to win the game. And number two, because of how these guys have repped that and handled that in practice and all year long. So Dom Ruley has earned that right to allow me to call that play based on how he's conducted himself, not just this year, but over his time at Penn State. He's been awesome. And again, if you haven't gone back and watched the play, watch Dakari Nelson's block on that play. I mean, it is like a thing of beauty. Like we give an award I think you guys have probably seen the belt, and it says BMF on it, that the guys wear, and that's an offensive award for the best block of the week. And I made the argument that Dakari should have been a part of that award because it was such a beautiful block. So yeah, I get it. I mean, I've said that to you guys before. When we don't go for it on fourth down and people think we should have, everybody's got an opinion. When we go for it on fourth down and don't get it, everybody's got an opinion. When we do go for it on fourth down and it works, you're smart. I get it. It's even like the announcers on TV. I'd love for them to have opinions before the play. Like everybody's got opinions after the play. So for me, it just comes down to trusting my staff and most importantly, trusting the players that it's about executing what we call. So I hope that helps, Mike.
Let's go to Frank Bodani, followed by Neo Riddell.
Hey, James, good afternoon.
Hey, Frank, how are you?
Yes, can you tell me where your love of sweet potato pie goes back to, the origins?
Aunt LaWanda, Aunt Romaine, Aunt Mel Badine, my mom, Jocelyn. We always had sweet potato pie from as long as I can remember. My grandma, Leota. We always had, I'd never had pumpkin pie unless it was like at elementary school in the cafeteria. Like, we never had sweet potato pie. Sweet potato pie is my favorite. I don't get it very often. My wife got the recipe from my mom, who got the recipe from my grandma. And I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So, some of the players' parents bring it to me, which is cool. People say, well, if you love it so much, how come you only have it around the holidays? Yeah, I get it. That's a fair deal. But either way, I love it. Frank, you're not going to flip the script here. You think you're slick by asking me. All right, here you go. You ready?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thanksgiving dinner, or whatever the time you eat, that whatever time it is, whether it's a lunch, dinner, whether it's a dinner, all that's fine. But Thanksgiving dinner or the leftovers?
Wow. Well, dinner number one, because it's the best dinner of the year to me. So the best dinner of the year has to have great leftovers, right? So
yeah, you can't split the fence though. Is it the dinner or is it the leftovers? Which is better?
Wow. Thanksgiving, you have a big meal, so you have lots of leftovers. I guess I go with the leftovers because they go longer.
Okay,
Yeah.
Then you just led me to the question 2.
Yeah.
How long will you eat the leftovers? When is it time that it's time to move on from the leftovers? Like how many days after Thanksgiving are you still eating turkey stuffing sandwiches?
Okay.
Neil's trying to jump in here.
Yeah, I know. Neil's concerned.
Why is
food.
Neil's mic on? What's going on here?
Okay. So turkey, couple days, but stuffing, mashed potatoes, those can go for what, 3, 4, 5 days? Sure.
Is there a reason?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why the mashed potatoes with butter and cream can last a lot longer than turkey?
A little touchy on the meat, right?
Gotcha.
Got to get that done first.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. What we got?
Okay. So, back to injuries. Alonzo Ford, is he something that's long-term? Do you guys know at this point? And staying with D tackles, can you then talk about how good Zane Durant is playing right now, his impact right now?
Yeah, so Alonzo Ford is long-term. When I talked about adversity that we faced at Minnesota, there was a lot of reasons for that, right? So Alonzo's is long-term as well. Kincaid, make sure we follow up with something we didn't talk about last night. But Zane, I think, is playing really good. I think I made a big deal on Sunday out of it with our team. He's the same guy every single day. He is mentally tough. He is physically tough. He likes football. He loves football. He understands and is willing to do the things that football takes, the sacrifices that he has to make to be a great player. He's the same way in the weight room. He's the same way at practice. He's the same way on game day. To me, he's what you want, what you're looking for in terms of, the whole package. I've been very complimentary of his parents and how he was raised. His high school did a really good job of developing him. And he showed up here with the mentality he was going to play as a true freshman, which is unusual at the defensive tackle position, and has done that. And I think for the young guys in our program, he's a really good guy to model behaviors, habits after. Big fan of Zane. He's also a guy that will speak from a leadership standpoint. He'll speak the truth to his teammates. I'm a big fan. And I think from a leadership standpoint, a lot of guys want to be leaders by example, and they're not willing to be verbal, and he is. So I'm a big fan of his.
Last question from Zoom, Neil Riddell.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Hey,
James.
Neil.
Sorry to clear my throat. I was just trying to stay in the rotation. I didn't want to delay.
No, you're fine. I just don't know why your mic was on.
Well, I clicked it on, I guess. I was surprised I knew how to do it. I think this is the most entertaining press conference of the year, so I'll stay in the spirit. Diane makes a great apple cranberry pie. So that's our maybe that beats you to your answer.
Apple cranberry pie. It's a nice attempt to use your own answer and question. Neil, I have a question. So
okay, I still have one. Then.
I get it. I've never had, is it apple cranberry pie?
Yeah.
Never had that before. If I'd be willing to pay your wife to make an extra apple cranberry pie, would she be willing to do that? Because you got me curious about this apple cranberry Thanksgiving pie.
Hey, you know what? She'd probably donate one to the cause.
Well, before you say yes, without ever talking to your wife, I don't want any problems at the house. You can send a message afterwards.
All right.
Okay.
She'll be all in for that.
Listen. Do not sign your wife up for something or agree that causes work for her before asking her first. I don't want any problems in the Riddell household.
She already signed up for more than she bargained for. It's all right.
Fair. All right, but you're still getting the question.
Yeah.
And I got a bunch here that haven't even gotten to them all. So trying to figure out the best one. Okay, here we go. It's probably not a good question, but I'm going to ask anyway. Watch football. What takes priority? Watching football on Thanksgiving or watching the parade? What
watching the football.
That trumps the parade.
Oh yeah, you don't bet on the parade.
Whoa. Neil, you went in the direction we're not supposed to go in, Neil. Okay, what about the mummers? Do you like the mummers?
That's cool. Yeah.
Your voice said no. All right. What do you got, Neil?
I'm very thankful. How about the team Thanksgiving plans? Does it include ping pong at your house? And also, are you saying that Warren was supposed to sky punt that?
First of all, about the punt. No, not necessarily sky punt. I mean, when you're not like the full-time punter, your punts are sky punt, right? Like you don't punt it very far, and you don't have to because there's not the whole reason you quick kick is there's nobody back there. So you just get it out there and let it roll type of deal. So it falls into that category is what I was saying, Neil. Because there's no returner back there. It's the whole reason for a quick kick. You just kind of let it punt about 25 yards and let it roll for another 10. Thanksgiving plans, we changed a little bit this year. So we'll have our Thanksgiving meal as a team Wednesday night. And then Thursday morning have our practice like we always do. And then instead of having a Thanksgiving meal afterwards, just trying to give the guys as much time as possible. So by having it Wednesday night, we'll still have like a light lunch for them to go in and grab if they want to after practice. But it just allows the guys to have more time on Thanksgiving to either go to my house, to go to their position coach's house, for some of the local guys to possibly go home, or a lot of the guys, as you know, when we have home games, a lot of the families just come in early and they come to practice, they do Thanksgiving, and then stay for the game. When it's a away game, that becomes more challenging. So that is the plan.
We'll go to questions in the room. Mark?
I'm glad you brought up fried turkey because I don't think people are talking enough about fried turkey. I know the people in this room appreciate it, but so thank you for bringing up fried turkey.
There's also been a lot of like issues with fried turkey stuff.
I've done fried turkey, so I know.
I'm talking about like burning garages down.
I've not done that, but
Yeah.
I've come close.
Yeah. Because if you don't get
Can't
the
do it on your
temperature,
porch.
yeah, you don't get the temperature of the turkey down first. You drop it in frozen. That's a big mistake. Or you don't have the right amount of oil in it, and you drop it down, and the oil comes everywhere. Like a lot of issues you got to be careful with. Okay, but here's the question. Here's your question, and remember, you're like people are going to be listening to this.
I'm prepared.
Okay. Help cook the dinner, and not just the turkey in the driveway. Help cook the dinner, or help wash the dishes.
My wife will laugh at this.
That's
Cook
why.
the
That's
dinner.
what I said. Some people are going to be listening.
Cook the dinner.
You're going to help cook the dinner,
I'm going to cook the dinner.
the whole dinner,
The whole dinner.
the entire dinner.
The entire dinner. Except my father-in-law will bring stuffing.
Okay, so give me the menu that you're going to make.
I'm not doing fried turkey because there's not a lot of time to prepare for it, but I'll do turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, and asparagus.
And then
Nope,
your
nope.
father-in-law brings the stuffing.
Yes. And then if my wife wants something for dessert, I'm not a dessert guy, we'll just go buy it.
Okay, so list it out again.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes,
Gravy.
gravy,
Asparagus.
asparagus,
Stuffing from the father-in-law.
stuffing from the father-in-law.
And then dessert probably bought somewhere.
No macaroni and cheese.
No macaroni and cheese.
No mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes and gravy.
Oh, you said mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And gravy.
And gravy. And does the gravy go on the mashed potatoes, on the turkey, or both? And the stuffing?
Eater's choice.
Your choice, I'm asking.
I'm not a stuffing guy, so mashed potatoes and turkey.
And no corn.
We could throw corn in there if somebody wants it, but I don't think there's already a lot of stuff going on.
No collard greens.
No collard greens.
Okay. All right. And no dessert unless somebody brings it.
Exactly.
Nobody in your family eats dessert, or you don't eat dessert?
I don't eat dessert.
So if you don't eat it, then you don't make
No,
it.
that's
You're
not
selfish
true.
cook.
Nope, that's not true. I don't eat asparagus either.
Why? Because what it does to your pee?
You said Neil. You worried about Neil talking about
You're
betting?
blushing. You're blushing. All right, here we go.
Hey, with Rucci elevating, who else might get an opportunity to do some of the things that he was doing? Maybe coming in as an extra offensive lineman or being that extra offensive tackle in the rotation.
Yeah, so obviously a guy that you guys know that we have a ton of respect for, who's played a bunch of football for us is JB Nelson. So JB's role will increase, and he's earned that. JB's had some lingering injuries this year that have affected how much we've been able to use him. but JB's role will increase. I would also say Cooper Cousins' role will increase. Egan Boyer's role could increase, and Javen Williams' role will increase. So all those guys will take on some of those reps and take on some of those roles, and part of it will be also how they practice this week. It's still early in the week to say those things, but all those guys have played this year already. So that group will make up those opportunities, but also it's still early in the week. We haven't even had a game plan practice yet.
In the front, Audrey.
Hello, James.
Audrey, what's up?
Nothing. I'm ready for my questions.
All right.
What do you got?
All right. Kind of deciding between a couple here.
That's
Okay.
fair.
Creamed corn or Brussels sprouts. And if neither one of them are an option, then I'll go to one of my other questions.
My mom will probably make Brussels sprouts, which is fine. I'll eat them, but I don't feel strongly about either.
It's okay. So I'm going to go to a different
Yeah,
question
go
because
ahead.
you don't really like either. Dinner rolls or cornbread?
Cornbread for sure. Nobody wakes up on Thanksgiving and says, I can't wait to have the dinner roll, right?
There's people that differ. There are people that disagree with you in the room.
That's a controversial.
Now, do you have cornbread at Thanksgiving?
Depends. Yeah, this year probably because I'll be home this year. But if I'm somewhere else, their family might not.
But your family does cornbread.
Typically, yes. But then there are rolls because of the leftovers, right? Because you got to make
The sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
With the rolls.
But it's got to be the mini rolls for the sandwich. That's kind of
Talking about Hawaiian rolls or what?
They're not Hawaiian rolls, but they're the same size of those, if you know what I mean.
The ones you get at the grocery store that come in a bag and they come in a little box. You pull out and put the whole thing and warm them up in the oven.
Yeah, but we don't warm them in the oven.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're kind of
Interesting.
We're a low maintenance group.
Interesting. I won't judge that. Okay. All right. What do you got?
The camera's caught with the sky kick. You went over to Drew. Obviously, he was frustrated on the sideline, and you kind of talked to him. Looked like you maybe calmed him down a little bit. What do you think maybe that moment and how he responded says about him and his maturation this season? Because he told us that the 4th and 1 play to Warren, that he was like, hey, I feel strongly about this play, and felt like he kind of has the ownership to have a voice with you guys in that give and take. What do you think maybe we saw some growth from Drew there? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that play he's talking about, the 4th and 1, that was we were discussing a couple different options on the headset, and he felt strongly about that call, so we went with it, and he obviously, him and a bunch of other guys in that unit made it work in a play that probably didn't play out exactly the way we had drawn it up, which is great because, as we all know, things aren't going to go as you have them drawn up in a controlled environment. But yeah, to be honest with you, I think a little bit misinterpreted. I think the people thought the frustration was with the quick kick. The frustration was with he was offset and Dawkins couldn't hear him. And he was frustrated that he's trying to get the snap off and the ball's not being snapped. And Drew does a great job of managing the clock. And he saw we were about to get a delay of game. And that's kind of what I was talking about in the beginning of the press conference. If we get a delay of game there, no big deal because we were quick kicking or sky punting or whatever it may be. So his frustration was more with the ball not getting snapped to Tyler so he could quick kick it. And then obviously it did while it looked like he was walking off the field, which is really just part of the whole play. No, I'm just saying that. But that I think that was kind of misinterpreted a little bit what his frustration was about. But either way, it was an opportunity for us to have a discussion, and then another discussion, and then another discussion. And to me, that's exactly how I want it to be. I want him to be fiery. Obviously, like anything, you don't want to live in the extremes, but I want him to be fiery. I want him to play with passion and emotion. And that was an opportunity for him to do that. And what was great is we were able to have a conversation, and he gave me good feedback and I gave him good feedback, and kind of went out and played really well. And then we had another conversation. I followed back up with him again, because there's just some things that kind of, I thought it was important for him to hear from my perspective. But, you know, to me, it was perfect. I expect there to be fire, and I expect there to be emotion, and I'm totally okay with that. And I encourage that. We work too hard. We sacrifice way too much. And I think Drew's a great example of that. And I'm glad he's showing that side of his personality. We've seen it, but I don't know if necessarily everybody else has seen it. But yeah, I think it was great.
In the middle, John.
Hey, James.
Hey, John.
Waiting for you.
You ready? All right. All right. I'm going to go with this is a good one. Okay. Cranberry sauce from scratch, which I think, if I remember correct, last year may have been, was it Fitz?
2 years ago, Ben Jones.
Ben Jones, 2
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
Ben Jones actually bragged about his mom's and brought me some, which was delicious. But cranberry sauce from scratch, or the jellied cranberry sauce from the can.
This may be controversial. I don't like cranberry sauce.
Well, we're going to move on.
yeah, it's fair.
And we're going to go to another question, because it's interesting, because we always did the can,
Right.
which
so
I
did we, and
love.
that's why I
Like, you
didn't
shake it out, and
Nah,
it's
I
got
hate
the
that.
lines in it. And then one year, my sister just decided to start making it fresh, which was awesome. But, you know, the can was kind of nostalgic.
Yeah, the nostalgia makes a lot of things
I
better.
agree. Okay, let's move on then. Kind of give you a layup here, but I'm going to do it. Mashed potatoes or stuffing, and why? You have to choose one or the other.
Stuffing. There's just like, you can have mashed potatoes other times a year. Stuffing is such a like an intrinsically Thanksgiving thing. Just makes everything better. And you got to mix it all in too.
Fair. Again, I like your argument for your answer too. So tell me how you eat it.
I mix everything together on the plate.
What's
It's all
everything?
turkey, mashed potato, corn, gravy, all of it.
Okay. One last question. Is it homemade stuffing? Is it stove top? Is it Pepperidge Farms? Like, what are we going with?
That I have no idea. That has been up to my mom for 3 decades now, and not something that I mess with.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay. By the time you're 30.
We got 3 months. So
Okay. So you got 3 months that you got to start understanding how to make these things.
see, I'm still local. My wife and I both are, so we can go home for Thanksgiving still. We're gonna ride that out as long as we can for those meals.
Okay. What I just said, you got 3 months.
I hear you.
Okay. All right. And thanks to your mom. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about Jalen Reed at safety this year, but maybe not as much about Zakee Wheatley. How would you evaluate how he's played this season?
Yeah, I think we got two of the better safeties in college football, and I think you guys know with KJ, that is as impressive of a group of guys as you could have, and that created a lot of diversity for us in what we did and how we did it. But Zakee's just playing great right now. His tackle radius is really impressive. His ability to make plays, whether it's calls and fumbles or interceptions, hasn't made as many of them this year as maybe I anticipated, but I know he's got the ability to do it. He's one of the more natural playmakers that we got. And just his football IQ, and him and Dex's relationship and how well they work together. I think he's playing at a very, very high level. I think he's got a really bright future. Kyle Schmidt was his high school coach at Spalding High School. I think he did a phenomenal job with him. Kyle played for us at the University of Maryland. He's done a great job at Spalding High School. And the kid came in here ready and prepared to compete. And he's just gotten better every single year. I think this past year probably made the biggest jump. just in terms of, all the different ways that we can use him, his confidence, understanding his strengths and weaknesses, playing to those strengths. Probably one of the better tacklers, just pure tacklers we have on our team. He's got length. He's got athleticism. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of his maturity. He's just really grown. And I'm very, very proud of him. And I think he's got a very, very bright future for the rest of his career here at Penn State and then afterwards.
You got time for one more, Tyler.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
What do you got?
All right. Getting low on the list here. Some of these I don't think are appropriate. All right. Pecan pie.
Okay.
Apple pie. And then I got a kind of a branch question off of it.
You want me to pick off those two?
Yes.
I don't usually have either often, but Thanksgiving I'm going pecan. With a little whipped cream on top, probably. Maybe vanilla ice cream if we have it in the freezer.
And then is it pecan or is it pecan?
Oh, yeah.
Very
I
nice.
think I can't top that answer.
Very nice. Which one is it?
I'm gonna go pecan. I just say pecan because I guess I'm lazy with the pronunciation. Yeah, I think it's pecan.
Isn't it all based on just where you're from?
Could be.
But you don't really eat either.
No, it's not like a normal. It's Saturday night. Let's get the pecan pie out of the freezer.
No, I'm talking about on Thanksgiving.
Oh, Thanksgiving, I'll eat both. Yeah.
Oh, you'll have both?
I'll eat as much as I can on Thanksgiving.
But will you
until my
have
stomach says
both as
stop.
part of your meal?
Yeah, after the meal, I'll have a little bit of both. Yeah, sure.
Well, no, what I'm asking you is, will you have, will it be
Yeah.
part of your Thanksgiving meal? Will both of those
Oh,
pies be
Yeah,
present?
apple. My wife's making apple pie. I don't know if pecan's gonna enter the equation, but I'd love if it somehow showed up. I will not be making it myself though to make that happen.
So then really after this long, the answer is apple, because you
Yeah.
won't even have the opportunity to have pecan pie.
In a random Thanksgiving setting where you're presenting me both, I'm taking pecan. In my reality Thursday where I don't have pecan pie, I'm not having pecan pie.
Fair answer. Okay, what we got?
All right, I got one for you. Nick Singleton, the last few weeks seems to, at least from our vantage point, I think, be operating at maybe a higher level than he was for a point of the season. His yards per carry the last 3 weeks are up from where they were the 3 games before that. Is that something that you're also picking up, where maybe Nick Singleton entering the stretch run here is in a better spot than he was midseason, health-wise?
Yeah, the reality is he's healthy again. I mean, you guys know what a healthy Nick Singleton looks like. And he wasn't that, but I also think that's a credit to Nick, and I also think that's part of the maturation process of a football player. And when you play in the Big Ten, and you play in the Big Ten that's not playing 10 games anymore or 11 games anymore, or you're talking about 12 games, and then the possibility of 17. The reality is in major college football or the NFL, there's very few people that are going to be 100% all year long. That's not the reality of college football. So you play with the things that you can play with and manage. The doctors and the trainers will step in when you can't. And Nick went out there and played the best he could under the circumstances, but he was not 100%. And he's back closer to 100% than he's been in a while. So yeah, that's great. I think, obviously I think Denai is in a similar situation. Denai's played a couple weeks not being 100%. And again, that's the nature of college football. And our guys understand that and they embrace that. And those types of decisions, I think, have allowed us to get to where we're at right now. The medical staff with Wayne and Dr. Billy and Andy Mutton and the whole group have done a phenomenal job of keeping our guys healthy and getting our guys healthy. And then our guys have taken a mature approach of coming in and getting prehab or rehab, even, when it's not mandated. Like they're just trying to put themselves in the best position to be as healthy as they can for as long as they can throughout the season, which is hard to do. So yeah, Nick is looking closer to full speed and 100% than he's been in a couple weeks. And we need that. He's an explosive player. And I think when the defensive coordinators see that, when the defensive players see that, it changes how they defend him and how they defend us. Because if you make one mistake, it could go for 80.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Coach.
Thanks, guys.